Good afternoon, everybody. A very warm and wet welcome from London. I'm just waiting another sort of 30 seconds to a minute, just to let everybody get logged on okay. I hope everyone's doing okay this afternoon. I can see everybody's just getting logged on, so we'll kick off shortly. Thank you for joining us, everyone. Just another few seconds and then we'll get started. Okay, I think we've still got a few people to join, but if they can just join us as and when we go. I think that the first thing to do is just to start with a bit of housekeeping. Firstly, a very, very warm and, as I said, wet welcome. We're sort of pouring down in London today. I hope you're managing to keep warm and dry. I am Jacqueline Berry. I am founding director of My Care Consultant, and before we kick off with today's webinar, just wanted to run through a little bit of housekeeping so everybody knows what to expect from the session. So firstly, and very importantly, please rest assured we cannot see you, we cannot hear you. We are recording today, so you will not be featuring in that. It's just the speakers, and our recording will just be showing Tony and I and the wording, so that we can share that with our viewers after the webinar. So please rest assured, if you're having a leisurely lunch or something, perhaps you're still in your pyjamas, had a lazy morning, then please do not worry. You can continue to do so in peace, and you won't be disturbed. We won't be able to see you. Also, just to sort of share a sort of a welcome message with our current Carebox members today who have joined us. Thank you so much for joining us. We do have a mixture of attendees on today's webinar. We have our current Carebox members who are perhaps here for a bit of a refresher to see what's new and how to access any new content. We've also got perhaps attendees that maybe have taken a free trial with us and haven't seen the system for a while, and indeed some of you may never have seen Carebox before. So a very warm welcome to everybody. This session is absolutely relevant to everyone on the webinar today. For the purpose of all of our viewers, just to let you know, including our members, this definitely won't be wasted time, even though you've used the system before. I'm delighted to say that we are going to be announcing something very exciting. We think it's exciting. So I'll be sharing that with you at the end of the webinar. So please sit tight, and we'll share what's new with you shortly. Also, just to let everybody know, we are aware that your time is precious. We're going to do our best to stick to the 20 minutes that we said. Because we have got this new exciting news to share with you, we are potentially going to run over a few minutes. Appreciate you might need to dash off, but hopefully you can stay with us, and apologies for running over potentially slightly on that. Also, just to let you know, at the end of the webinar, Tony and I will be answering a couple of questions, if there are any for us. So please, I do welcome you to leave any questions throughout the course of the webinar, excuse me, throughout the course of the webinar by using the Q&A chat, Q&A facility on Zoom, and feel rest assured that nobody else in the group will see your questions. It'll just be myself, Tony and Lynn, who are sitting behind the scenes today. Finally, and by no means least important, I wanted to say a huge thank you to our corporate sponsors, Just, without whom it would be very difficult to continue to offer Carebox at the modest prices that we do today. So thank you so much to Just for sponsoring us and supporting the work we do at Carebox and My Care Consultant. So without any further ado, before I kick off, I'd just like to introduce some of my senior team to you. So alongside myself today, we have my technical director, Tony Miles, and Tony helped me bring Carebox to market last April, but also he is responsible for the majority of the content in Carebox. So Tony's going to be taking you through the live demo today. We also have Lynn Miles, who is actually Tony's wife, and Lynn is our IT and marketing director. Lynn is the guru behind Carebox, and is here today to make sure that everything runs smoothly. So if Lynn does start talking at any time, please don't be alarmed. That's just to tell Tony or I that something needs correcting. So So without any further ado, I'm just going to switch off my video temporarily and we'll get kicked off. So, as I said, a very warm welcome. What I'd like to do is spend the next few minutes before Tony takes you through a live demo, just explaining what's in Carebox, why we built it, and also how you can get the most from it. Now, if you haven't got access to Carebox yet, and you've joined us just to see what it's all about, please let me remind you, you can get a 1 month's free trial at any time, and I'll explain how to get access to this at the end of the session. So in terms of what Carebox is, well, it's owned by My Care Consultant. And for those of you who aren't familiar with My Care Consultant, we're an independent care navigator firm. We work with financial advisors and your clients every single day, offering a care navigation service. And this is in respect of the non-regulated aspects of care advice. So what I'm talking about here is, what care do I need? How do I access that care? How much is it going to cost? Am I going to be paying? Can I get anything from the local authority or NHS? And also, if I am self-funding, what are the available options to pay for my care? So what we've done is we've translated our detailed learning of how the care systems operate across the UK with our qualifications and experience of regulated advice, as well as years of working with financial advisors. And what we've done is we've transferred this into accessible information, and that's written, audio and video format based, in support of both non-regulated and regulated care advice. So Carebox is subscription based. So following your free trial, you have the option to walk away or you can sign up with us. We're currently offering Carebox at a monthly rate of £14.99 or £150 a year respectively, which is about just over a 15% saving. At this point, it would just be important for me to note, we do also offer group rates. So if you're a company with up to 10 users, we do offer preferential group rates for those firms as well. Once you've subscribed, you have total access to Carebox, and you can view it online or you can download it. For example, in a client meeting, you might want to use documents or email them to clients, for example. All of the documents in Carebox are dated. That's really important. And we update content on a regular basis. So why did we build Carebox? Well, one of the things that we place a real importance on is responding to the feedback and sort of requests from our advisor partners on both sides of our business, whether they work with us referring clients for care advice or whether they're using Carebox. And fundamentally, we built Carebox after receiving lots of requests from advisors who told us that they needed an easily accessible source of relevant and accurate information. So importantly, the majority of the material on Carebox is original. That there is information online, and I'm sure many of you that are involved in the care advice area have looked online to find out information. But in my experience, a lot of it is incorrect or out of date. And also there's very little material on websites that we can see that are written with financial advisors in mind. And very few of those sites as well provide a platform for advisors to either ask questions or query content. And again, that is what we're delivering in Carebox. So many of our users already have told us that before they were using Carebox, they'd have a long-term care case or a client that had a family member in need of care, and they would then spend hours of online research, sort of looking for answers to questions and up-to-date information across the internet. And even then, they wouldn't be entirely secure of the accuracy of the information they were finding. So with Carebox, what we're doing here is we're bringing information to you quickly, it's efficient, and it enables you to offer a joined up and complete care advice service, whether you're doing this in-house or outsourcing, for example, to My Care Consultant or another advisor who does everything in-house. Finally, and importantly, Carebox really is envisaged as an outsourced technical and client support function, and it does constitute structured and unstructured CPD as well. So before I hand over to Tony, just a quick snapshot of the types of content and material that we are hosting in Carebox. as I said, it's pretty much all original. We're aiming to save you time by pulling together the most relevant and accurate information across the statutory guidance and documents, a host of other online material, as well as our own experiences of dealing with consumers, local authorities, the NHS and service providers. So before I hand to Tony, who's just about to take over to give you a long-awaited live tour of Carebox, I just wanted to highlight two interactive aspects of Carebox. So the first is our Refer a Client button, which sits on our homepage. And this is a function to enable you to send a client or a family member's details through to My Care Consultant electronically, and we will then follow up with your client to run their free initial 15-minute telephone call. And during that call, we will answer questions, highlight any obvious issues, and provide an initial course of action, as well as feeding back to you after that call. So this function is really a super quick and smooth way to send your client details in and let us get on with it and give them the help they need. Finally, we have our dedicated members-only LinkedIn group. And this really is a safe space where our advisor members can discuss care advice issues or technical questions or matters. We keep a watching brief on this. We try and input into it as much as possible to let you know what's going on out there in practice. And we really do encourage debate. So that's a great interactive aspect of the site. So without any further ado, I'm now going to, pass the screen over to my colleague, Tony Miles, who is going to share a live demo of Carebox. Over to you, Tony.
Thank you, Jacqueline. Welcome everybody while I share my screen. Okay, hopefully in a minute, you will see the landing page of Carebox. Good, there we are. So welcome. What you're looking at is the landing page of Carebox. Well, I hope you're looking at is the landing page of Carebox. At the top of the page, you will see the main navigation bar that takes you into the key sections within Carebox that Jacqueline signposted on her What's in Carebox slide. So you have membership home, the library, that's where the bulk of the material sits, advisor toolkit, MCC news, the LinkedIn group that Jacqueline referred to, and then a contact section. But before we actually look at any of those, I want to look at the landing page. Underneath where you see the words membership home, this is the area we use to highlight something new on the site. In this case, if I go down a little bit, you'll see that we have posted benefit and pension rates for 2020 and 2021. Ultimately, they will be flushed through all the documentation on Carebox, but until we do that, you can see all the new rates. And you can see a section on the new coronavirus site, which happens to sit within the advisor toolkit. So anything we want to draw your attention to will always be sitting right at the top of the landing page. Moving down, you can see where my cursor is now, the Refer a Client to My Care Consultant button that Jacqueline just mentioned. And below that, on the left-hand side where my cursor is, you can see a short welcome message from Jacqueline, which gives you a brief 2 or 3 minute summary of what Carebox is all about and what's in it. And on the right of that video, you will see a box with the word April in it. And that's what's new in Carebox. This is really designed so that you can see on a month-by-month basis what new material has been added to Carebox. And we also, as a matter of interest, email that out to all our subscribers. So again, they can be alerted to anything of particular interest that is new. Okay, what I'm going to do now is go to the top of the page, onto the navigation bar, and I'm going to click on the word library. And this will hopefully take us into the main library section. Okay, we are now in the library, and you can see it's pulled across from the landing page the benefits and pension rates link that I mentioned earlier. But the main way of navigating this part of CareBox is through these little sections that the library is broken down into. So you can see dementia, general information, legal aspects of care, etc., etc. And by clicking on any one of these, the virtual library assistant then pulls all the relevant information linked to that heading off the shelf of the library into one place, which is a really useful facility when you look at the amount of content that sits within the library. And I'm just going to scroll down, because at the moment we've got a whole library in front of us, to give you an idea of the content. So as I scroll down, all these documents that you can see are sitting currently just in the library section of CareBox. So hopefully that will give you a visual view of the extent of material that we have in the library. Right, hopefully if you're not too dizzy now, I'm now going to go back up to the top and I'm going to click on one of the sections of the library, in this case, NHS Continuing Healthcare. But just before I do that, I just want to mention the search button. If you use the search button, where I'm at right underneath the main navigation bar, that will search the whole of the site. So the library, the toolkit, care news, etc., etc. So you can also use that facility. But for the purposes of this exercise in the library, we're going to use this search engine and we're going to click now on NHS Healthcare. And if you look at the documents underneath, you will see the virtual library assistant in action. All of a sudden, by clicking on that section, the section goes from green to yellow or orange, and all the relevant documents that are linked to that section are brought by the library assistant in front of you. On the left-hand side, you can see an example. I'm moving my cursor on and off it at the moment, of a key information sheet. These are color-coded in blue. They're typically 4 or 5 pages of A4 long, sometimes a little longer, and they contain key information on a whole range of subjects. To the right, you'll see where my cursor now is going on and off, an example of what we call a summary sheet. These are a lot shorter, typically no more than 2 sides of A4, and give a summary on some of the bigger issues, for example, how the care and health system works in England, Scotland, Northern Ireland and Wales, and other subjects. To the right, you'll see an example of a flowchart. They are color-coded with a black triangle in the left-hand corner of the document. And at the far right, you'll see an example of one of our comprehensive guides. We produce a comprehensive guide every quarter at least, and those comprehensive guides are part of the content which makes up structured CPD. Now, when it comes to these documents, as I said, if you click on any one of them, it will bring it up. So I'm now going to click on the comprehensive guide, NHS Continuing Healthcare, or assessing or accessing NHS Continuing Healthcare. And up it comes. Now, all the documents, whatever type they are, have this grey bar on the top. So you have a page changer. You can see this particular deep dive, by the way, or comprehensive guide is 45 pages long. You can change the page by the down arrow, moving things forward, or you can go back using the up arrow. It's very simple. If, like me, you wear glasses and your sight isn't what it perhaps used to be, you've got a zoom function, so you can make the thing larger or you can make it smaller. And where my cursor is now, you have the ability to download any document. This is important in respect of any desire you have to print off a document. We don't have a direct print facility straight on the site. You have to download the documents and then print it. You can also see the categories, the green category that turned to yellow, the green categories on the right hand side of this page, so you can move directly from any document into a completely different category if you choose to do so. Underneath, you'll also see keywords that are attached to the documents to help the search engine pull out the relevant material. It's not really necessary for you to see these, but it shows you how the system works. Okay, that's all I actually want to show you in the library or have time to, but there are lots and lots of other material like book reviews, podcasts, huge amount of material, and as I said, the comprehensive guides on topics within it. Okay, the next area I want to show is using the main navigation toolbar is the Advisor Toolkit. And if you hover over it, like I have just done, you will see it immediately displays the 8 sections that sit within the Advisor Toolkit, so you can go directly to any of them. But for the purposes of this demo, I'm just going to click where my cursor now is on the Advisor Toolkit, which I have just done. Right, instantly you will see the Advisor Toolkit comes up, and there you have the 8 sections that sit within it. They have a visual underneath of which is a title and then a brief description of what is in each particular section. Now, unfortunately, I don't have time to go through all of these, and there's some great stuff in every one of them, but I'd just like to highlight 2 or 3. Firstly, the section called Case Studies. My cursor's over it now. I'm just simply going to click on the image, Case Studies. And up comes the case studies that we have sitting within that part of the Advisor Toolkit. And we post case studies based on MCC's, or My Care Consultants consultations with clients. They're obviously depersonalised. And those of particular interest from the local government and social care ombudsman. And we highlight case studies where we think they demonstrate some really useful learning, often learning in practice rather than the theory, and that we should share. Okay, if one then goes back up to the Advisor Toolkit, and I'm now going to move straight into the area of continual, no, actually, I'm going to go into the coronavirus section. Let's do that. So I've now clicked on that part of the drop-down guide. So we're now in the coronavirus section. Now, this contains most of the up-to-date information in respect of those aspects of the virus and the government's response to it that impact directly on health and social care. If I go down a little bit, you will see that each item, specific item, is dated with a brief description underneath. And if you give care advice, this is currently, I suggest, a really critical area for you, highlighting all the key developments, such as the effective suspension of the Care Act in England on the 31st of March, and those local authorities who have applied for easement. If I move up a little bit, you'll see that immediately underneath the diagram, or the image rather, there are a couple of single entry points. Firstly, single entry points where my cursor is now for general information on coronavirus from either the UK or each devolved government. So if you're in England, obviously the UK government was applied, Northern Ireland, Scotland and Wales, the respective devolved governments. And that contains the entry point for all the information that they're posting. There's also a single entry point for ongoing FCA responses to coronavirus. So you can access a building picture or a building response from the FCA via this one point. So hopefully this particular section gives you access to almost anything that you might want. As I said earlier, hopefully it's a temporary section, but it does illustrate, I think, the ability of the Carebox team to move quickly and create different content as and when needed. Okay, the last section I'm going to show you is simply the CPD section, because it's an important part of this site. In the CPD section, you'll find that all the comprehensive guides that we write are supported by a Q&A, for example, where my cursor is now, that will enable you to demonstrate your learning. And also there is a main section document to record your CPD in respect of these and other Carebox material. Okay, back up to the main navigation page. I'm now going to click on MCC Care News. And here we are. So What you'll see here is every past edition of our newsletter that we issue directly to our subscribers on a monthly basis. We actually issue two versions, a basic version that is free to non-Carebox subscribers and a more detailed version available to our Carebox members. So what you have here are the detailed versions. So I'm going to click on the latest news bulletin, the April 2020 version. Again, you have the great Carebox navigation, so you can turn pages, you can zoom in and out, and you can download. Now, this more detailed version contains three sections. The first section that you can actually see where my cursor is called In the News. And there we collate all the health and care news items from the popular and specialist press during the previous month. And this is also the part of the news bulletin that is sent to the free distribution list. Now, if I change over the pages, I can get to the second section, which is called Rules and Regulations. This includes legislation from government, judgments from the Social Care Ombudsman, and commentary from a whole range of other regulatory bodies, such as the Care Quality Commission. Again, moving pages. The third section that Carebox members see is entitled Reports, Guidance and Support. And this is really any relevant material from third parties that help readers build an understanding of the care market or provide access to some really useful client support. So there you go. Again, you can download, as I said, any of these past editions and send to colleagues within your business or third parties. And whilst it's not really designed to be sent to clients, if you wanted to and you wanted to highlight certain content, you could obviously do so. One of the things you'll see on the right-hand side where my cursor is now, you also see that this area holds Jacqueline's Twitter feed. So if you tweet or you want to know what's on Jacqueline's mind at any given time, I laughably say a mystery for many of us, this is a really good place to go. Okay, moving swiftly on, the last thing is the contact section I want to talk about. And I've clicked now on that part of the main navigation toolbar. And what you can see here is a means that you can electronically contact us. Complete your name, email, subject, telephone, and whatever your message is. And then you'll see there's a blue send button. Press that and it comes straight through to us. And we monitor this literally on an hourly 24/7 basis. Why is this important? Well, because we want Carebox to be seen as your resource and to help you give timely and accurate advice to your clients. As I think Jacqueline mentioned earlier, if there's something you want to see on Carebox, let us know and we will do our best to produce it, because we really do see this as an outsourced function, not simply a one-way information source. Okay, that's it from me. I hope you found this brief tour interesting. There's plenty more I could show you, but we simply don't have time. So I'll now hand you back to Jacqueline, who will bring this webinar to a close. Many thanks.
Thank you, Tony. I'll just be quick at sharing my screen here. Okay. So thank you for the live demonstration, Tony. I hope everybody found that useful, and clearly there's still so much in there, and I would urge anybody listening today, please do go in and have a look around, and feel free to ask questions at some point if you need to. So really importantly, this brings me to the exciting news which I wanted to share with everybody today. Following on from Tony's point about the importance we place on our members feeding back, you know, what they want to be seeing and what they would like us to develop in Carebox. Now, due to feedback, a lot of feedback actually from advisors that we work with day in, day out, we've created a document. Now, this is a consumer-facing document. It's for you to use with your clients or their family members indeed. It's to be used as an initial response to being asked about care. So the document contains a balance between communicating important information, but also not overwhelming the client. And essentially the point to this is to make sure that your clients are informed and facing in the right direction before they then revert back to you to take further advice, which could either be provided in-house by you, or you might choose to outsource that to my care consultant, for example, or another advisor. We have shared this guide with a couple of our existing members, and the feedback has been brilliant. In terms of when this guide will be available, we are looking to launch this next week. We will send a communication round to all of the listeners today to let you know when that's live. Really importantly, all of our paying Carebox subscribers will be able to download this free of charge. You'll also be able to access hard copies of this, and at this point I wanted to say a big thank you to Pure Retirement, who have not only helped us rebrand the guide and make it look good, but also they are powering a function that enables us to give you hard copies which you can order on through Carebox and get them directly to your house or offices. Really importantly as well, you can add your company details onto the guide. I am going to share quickly a sneak preview of the guide, which is just at final editing stage. As you'll see, this is the front page, and at the bottom in the white space, this has been left blank for our advisor partners who may want to download a soft copy of the guide and add your logo, or you may want to just order hard copies and put company labels on with your details. If we have a quick look through the guide, hopefully you will agree it does look really good, so thank you Pure Retirement. I just wanted to highlight a couple of, well, the main headings on the guide. We've looked at types of social care, how the UK social care system works, across the UK of course, paying for care as a self-funder, and the all-important question, well, what happens to me if I run out of money? Really importantly, we've got a section on the importance of taking specialist regulated financial advice. And one of the things we do on a regular basis is signpost our clients to financial advisors for a recommendation around how best to pay for their care if they have contacted us directly. We've also got a section on the relevance of legal capacity and a sneak peek here at the 5 key steps somebody needs to take when they first start on their care journey. We've got some great appendixes. This one is the updated 2021 capital thresholds across the UK, state benefits, and we've also got a jargon buster which helps the reader understand what's being said. We lastly have some what I would refer to as quite snazzy flowcharts. We want to make sure that clients can understand different processes throughout the care system, and this is an opportunity to look at them visually. And so we've got the local authority care needs assessment, we've got the NHS continuing healthcare assessment, and of course the financial assessment with the local authority as well. So that is going to be available hopefully next week, and we will communicate to all of our viewers as and when that's available. So finally, before we go to take questions, I appreciate if anyone needs to leave, we have run over slightly, so please feel free to get going, and you can send any questions you have through to carebox@mycareconsultant.co.uk, and we will respond within 1 working day. But for anybody that can stay for a couple of minutes, just importantly to remind you, please interact with us. Let us know if there's anything you don't like or that you want to be seeing in Carebox. Unlike a huge corporate, we can move really quickly on this. You know, if you've got a key information sheet you'd like us to produce that's not there, email us and we'll produce it. Also with feedback, Tony mentioned, we really do urge any feedback to be sent through to us, please, good or bad. This is what drives Carebox, which is really important to us to continually improve the system.